Good evening, everyone. An Alaska Legislative Committee will study the Oath Keepers next week. Now, that's a far-right militia group with ties to the January 6th attack on the U.S. Capitol.
Wasilla Representative David Eastman's a lifetime member of that group. The House is debating what action, if any, should be taken against him.
Sean McGuire joining us live from Juneau tonight with more on this story. Sean?
Mike and Maria, the bipartisan House Majority Coalition is said to have rushed into taking action against Eastman earlier in this week. Now they're going to take a step back with the first hearing on the Oath Keepers set for next Thursday. On Monday, the House of Representatives met with plans to remove David Eastman from his committee assignments. But there was a procedural issue, and a more simple one.
It was very questionable whether we had the votes or not.
Sources in the Capitol tell me that votes to oust Eastman weren't counted ahead of time, which is unusual.
Since then, people have rethought their positions and just said, well, what about this? What about that?
Members of the bipartisan House Majority say they moved a little too quickly against Eastman.
And before we go down that avenue, we want to make sure we have thoroughly vetted the situation. That's the right thing to do.
Now the House Committee on Military and Veterans Affairs will study the Oath Keepers, a group made up of thousands of veterans and first responders who claim to be defending the Constitution. The Southern Poverty Law Centre calls the group a far-right anti-government organisation. Some of its members have been charged for last year's attacks on the US Capitol.
First of all, I want to make this very clear. This is just informational. This is in no way an investigation or anything like that.
Democratic Representative Chris Tuck will lead that review. He says that's in response to a public outcry, including from some quarters, that claim Eastman is constitutionally barred from serving over his Oath Keeper ties.
Wanted to make sure that the public knows we're not ignoring the issue.
Eastman has been open about protesting the 2020 election results in D.C. on January 6th last year. No evidence has emerged of him entering the Capitol or engaging in any violent activity. He's not renounced his lifetime membership to the Oath Keepers, but says this process has not been transparent.
So I'm glad for any opportunity for the public to be engaged, to know what the decisions are as we're making them, not find out about them afterwards.
House Speaker Louise Stute says there needs to be more vetting before any possible action is taken against him, but she's frustrated that this saga is going on and on.
Taking care of the business of the state, that has got to be a priority, and this has been on the front page far too long.
The Anti-Defamation League and congressional investigators into the January 6th attack have been invited into next week's hearing. Tuck tells me that to ensure this isn't one-sided, the Oath Keepers and potentially Eastman could also speak as well. Mike and Maria?